Good morning. Brock Lesnar failed the drug test. His fight against Mark Hunt. It's funny. I just was making some videos, a couple of days ago, and I talked in it, and I was like, I started talking about drug testing, the more stringent drug testing, and I even said, I'm like, well, what are you talking about? Did you see Brock Lesnar in that fight? I mean, there's no way that guy. I mean, he's old. There's no way that guy's not gassed up. And I was initially thinking, I'm like, maybe just pay somebody off. I mean, Brock Lesnar has millions of dollars. I mean, somebody comes to drug test you, and you literally hand them $50,000 in cash. You don't even have to hand them 50. Some schmuck that's doing that, you hand him 20 grand in cash. Probably wouldn't even take that much. 10, 5 grand. But, just say you give him 50 grand. There's nobody's going to turn that down. Or say 100 grand. I mean, if somebody's going to make millions of dollars off a fight, to pay somebody $100,000 in cash, that's a little ridiculous. I don't think it would take anywhere near that. But say whoever it is, the most honest person in the world, you offer him 100 grand cash from somebody who you're not getting set up either, because if it's Brock Lesnar or somebody that's on steroids, it's not a setup. You see what I'm saying? So, so that's why I'm starting to think, and I've said before that I much preferred Pride over the UFC because it was kind of anything goes. There was no drug testing Pride at all, but you didn't have to take drugs. And it was probably a mix of both. Definitely a lot of people on steroids in Pride. But guys, honestly, I think it was better than this, because the problem with this now is, at first I kind of had mixed emotions, and I said, well, it's good, some guys will slip through the cracks, but what it will do, the drug testing will do, is it will keep, you won't have to get in there with some guy just completely gassed up. But that's not true, because look at Brock Lesnar. I mean, he came in there. I mean, guys, Mark Hunt is 265 pounds. The limit's 265. Brock Lesnar was way bigger than him. And now they're doing the weigh-ins the day before, but they're doing them early in the day. So I don't know the specifics. But instead of 24 hours or whatever it is, they get much more time. They're doing the weigh-ins earlier in the day or something like that. It's almost like it's 2 days ahead of time. So they get to recover and get big. But did Brock Lesnar really weigh in at 265? I mean, he looked way bigger. So, so I'm starting to think, you know what, man, if you're not, I mean, this is just blatant. And then what's the point? What is the point of drug testing somebody after a fight? The person has already gone in there. Now, yeah, it won't be a loss on his record if it gets overturned. But, I mean, somebody could get hurt. Somebody could get hurt really bad. What if, you know what I mean? Whereas if drug testing wasn't allowed and you said you're going in there against Brock Lesnar, you're more aware that you're going in there against a Brock Lesnar on steroids. See, Mark Hunt showed up. He thought he's fighting Brock Lesnar, that fought Alistair. Maybe he was on roids then, I don't know, but he didn't look as big. He didn't look like he just looked in this fight. Of course, Alistair was gassed up in that fight. That was right before he got busted for that. So the testing is like, well, it caught him, yeah, but in a way, what if they didn't catch him? And then what was with the weigh-in? So the whole thing just seems really suspicious to me. It's like, if you're not going to do what you say, if you're going to have rules, but they don't mean anything, or you're going to make exceptions, or you're going to let this guy slip through. I mean, obviously the UFC let the guy slip through. He got caught afterwards by, I mean, but did this guy really weigh in at 265? I mean, you have to wonder. I mean, did you see the size of him? He looked like he's 40, 50 pounds bigger. So, guys, I think this whole drug testing thing, it's really, I don't like it. I'm going to be honest with you. At first, I was kind of like trying to be open-minded to it. But I really think they should just get away with it, and they should just stop talking about it. Some guys will be on drugs, and some fighters won't be. People are not, Not everybody is stupid, or maybe they could do it in a different way. You could literally get a shot before a fight to where your testosterone will be higher, but then you're off it through all your training, so you're running on your normal testosterone, so you're not really altering your body, but it would help you in a fight, or something. So I don't know, but this is lame, man. Putting somebody in there is it's like throwing a deer in a cage with a tiger or something like that, and it just. Even if you after the fight say, "Oh, that wasn't a fair fight," after the deer got killed, you say, "Well, that wasn't a fair fight." Well, no kidding. We knew it wasn't a fair fight before, so why put somebody through that? I think that's unethical. People say it's unethical to take drugs and fight. I think it's unethical to put somebody in there that's not allowed to take drugs against somebody in there because they're a celebrity and because they're very wealthy. I mean, and guys, I just all of a sudden realized that this drug testing thing is not going to work in the UFC. These guys could just... Conor McGregor, this guy has millions and millions of dollars. He's in Ireland. Someone's going to drug test him in Ireland. This is a global sport. I mean, how are you supposed to control, even if you mean well, how are you supposed to control what's going on in, the UFC is in Japan, or the UFC is in China, or the UFC is in Ireland? How are you supposed to control what these guys are taking? It's not realistic that it's going to happen. It's not like it's American football or something, and it's just the NFL, and they have no other choice. So they, what I mean? It's just, Conor McGregor could literally just hand somebody $50,000 cash. You don't think Conor would do that? That guy throws money around like crazy. He's all about flaunting money and using money as he's all about showboating it. I could totally say he has $100,000. He gives somebody $100,000 cash, and guess what? Now he passed the drug test, and so it's just they ought to just do away with the whole thing. They really should go back to like Pride, and let's just stop talking about it. It's getting old, and it's not working. The fights are getting worse. And it's just very hypocritical. It's just so hypocritical. Say, "Oh, we don't want people on drugs." You're watching a sport where guys, that's the history of the sport. And if guys weren't on drugs, hey, more power to you. And would you have to take steroids to compete in MMA? Well, I don't know. That's debatable. But was there guys in Pride that didn't take steroids? Yeah, I believe there was. Look at when Hoist Gracie showed up at UFC 1, and was he on steroids doing all that? I probably wasn't, man. He was just a world-class jiu-jitsu guy, and he beat all these guys. So I don't know, man. But the system that they got now, it's not working, and it's not realistic. It's like marijuana not being legal. That's the stupidest thing. It's not realistic that people are just not going to smoke marijuana. Like the prohibition, take away alcohol. It's not realistic that people aren't going to drink. So I think they should make it more fair. People should be more aware of that they are fighting somebody who could potentially be really, really, really gassed up on testosterone. And mentally, you should be prepared for the worst. The guy could be amped on amphetamines. Remember Clay Guida? This guy was so amped up on amphetamines and whatever. He like during a break, he wouldn't even want to sit down. He'd just be like this. That guy was drugged out of his mind. He was on like some type of amphetamines. He was just like, It's like these crazy stories of guys on PCP lifting up cars. That's what Clay Guida was on, something like that. That's how he acted. There's no way you would act like that. There's no way you would act like that. Even if you were acting, you couldn't act like that. It's just somebody, and they would allow that to go on. that was the most ridiculous thing. I'm like, this guy is on speed on some serious amphetamines. I'm like, you're supposed to, that's literally like give somebody a bunch of PCP. He probably wasn't on PCP, but that's something that people know about, like when you're a kid, someone's on PCP and they bust through the glass, and you know what I mean, they can't be stopped, and they take out 10 police officers with their bare hands, you know. So, you know, to go in there in a cage with somebody on something like that. But that's literally what's happens in this sport. I mean, it's no joke. And I think it's more realistic to say, look at this, your opponent could potentially be juiced to the gills on pumped full of steroids and be on PCP or some type of amphetamine. And I think in this sport, this is a hardcore sport, and I do believe it truly is an underground sport. I don't believe this is something that's a mainstream sport, and this is kind of proving it, man. This is a hardcore sport, an underground sport, and this trying to make it all roses and everything. You know, with the drug testing, it's just it's stupid. It's ruining the sport is really what it's doing. I'll see you guys later.